Solara. I'm here at VIDA Coworking, and I'm going to be doing a little half-hour Pilates for you today. So we're just going to kind of do a full body, moving all the joints, looking at strength and flexibility, mobility and stability. So if you've been doing these all along, if you've gone through some of them, some of this will be familiar and then some of it will be new. Don't let yourself do anything that's painful. You can always modify things. If you've got questions, feel free to get in touch. Here at VIDA, if you're a member, you can do a free trial session. You can do it online, or you can come into the studio and wear a mask and have a social distance session. And you can get in touch with me if you're a VIDA member through Slack, or you can get me through email, solarajean@gmail.com. And my website for Pilates is solarapilates.com. Super easy. So I'd love to see you for a session, but if you're enjoying these videos and that's enough, that's great. If you have any requests of what you'd like to see focused on, feel free to shoot that out to me or any of the VIDA, Melanie or Caitlin, and I'd be happy to give you a specific class. So you're going to start on your hands and knees. Now if you have wrists that hate this, you can skip it, or you can always go onto your knuckles. And if you go on your knuckles, have your thumb pointing forward to give your shoulders a chance to open. So if you're on your hands, spread all your fingers, make your hand nice and flat and wide. And you're just going to find a neutral spine, feeling that your tailbone's reaching back, your head's reaching forward, and in between your lower back is a small arch, your upper back is a small round, and your neck is a small arch. So I've got that idea, hip bones and pubic bone level, so my belly's holding my spine, and I'm not letting it sag or collapse anywhere. So once I'm feeling just neutral and stable, I've got my shoulders over my wrists and my hips over my knees, I'm going to rock forward and backward. And I want to keep pushing the floor away from me to rise up and out of the ground. And I don't make it so big that it hurts. And I'm moving my wrists, my shoulders, my knees, my hips, all my joints. You might really feel it in your wrists if you're not used to putting weight in your hands. And then now we're going to go side to side. And again, small. Don't look at me and think it needs to be as big as me or bigger. Feel in your own body what feels right. And side to side. Go ahead and stop. Now you're going to make a little circle. And I'm trying to keep the spine neutral and really let my shoulder circle around my wrist and my hips circle around my knees. My hands and my knees are fixed, so I'm kind of drawing a circle around those points. Now go the other way. And again, make it small enough that it feels good. If it doesn't feel good, try making it even smaller. And then find the middle. Now you're going to just round your spine, lifting your belly up, and then we're going to arch, and we're going to send the head and the tail up. I'm still giving a little support to my belly so I'm not just sinking and sagging. And I'm going to do 2 more rounding. Exhale, draw the belly in as you curve your spine to a rounded shape. Inhale through that neutral. And then again, exhale as you extend and trying to arch the chest and the upper back. Opening your chest. Last time. Curve it. And then gently extending. Then take yourself back for a moment into child's pose. And your wrists might be ready for a break. So we're going to give this lower back a little moment. And remember, if you don't like child's pose or you can't do child's pose, just flip onto your back and hug your knees into your chest instead. Now we're gonna stretch our wrists the other way. So you're gonna have the back of your hand on the mat and the fingers pointing toward you. And the weight should be coming back toward you. If I lean onto my hands, I'm not getting any stretch. I wanna get a stretch through my forearm. And just gently, you just go as far as you go. Personally, I have very flexible wrists, but that's not actually that normal. Many people's wrists are much tighter, so just feel what feels good to you and don't push harder than feels good. Great. Okay, so now let's flip onto our back. We're gonna come back to that cat place, but we're gonna give the wrists a break for a moment. So now on your back, find yourself again in that neutral. Feet flat on the floor, tailbone and sacrum both heavy, shoulders, chest, head all relaxed, and the arms are gonna come by your sides. And just begin with a nice inhale into the belly. And exhale, pull the belly in and let yourself make a little coccyx curl. My feet push into the floor so my belly can sink into my spine and give me some leverage to create that movement in my pelvis. As I'm tucking, it's easy for my butt to want to squeeze, and I would rather find out how do my abdominal muscles move my pelvis. Zip the pubic bone to the navel and let the feet do the pushing and the belly does the pulling. And just one more, finding a way to rock your tail up and roll your sacrum and your lower back down. And then we're going to continue, coccyx curl, keep on going on that path, rolling the spine up into the Pilates bridge, which is more of a neutral or a tucked feeling. I don't want to lift and arch my back. I want to stay deep in the belly and lengthening the back of my spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, back down. Inhale at the bottom and exhale, roll up. Push the feet into the floor, pull the belly into the spine. At the top of your bridge, inhale. And exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, articulating your way back down as much as you can. You don't need to force your spine to articulate better than it does. Some days the spine may feel like it's really not articulate, and it might not have that sense of like one bone at a time after another, and that's okay. You don't want to be pushing and forcing. You're just asking for some fluid movement through those vertebrae, and then seeing how much articulation you have. You're never pushing it hard. Now let the hips rest in the neutral, and let's challenge the belly a little bit more. You're going to bring one knee up to the tabletop shape. Shins pretty parallel to the ceiling and the floor. Use your belly and bring the other one up. Now when both knees are up, I can squeeze the legs together, or I can have them in line with my own hip sockets, which are only a couple inches apart. I don't want the knees splaying out because I want my inner thighs and my abdominals to help keep the legs floating. So just being like this is a little ab work. Now float the arms up to the ceiling. And I'm basically in that cat shape, but instead of hands and knees on the ground, I've got my back on the ground. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see how much can I reach my arms back behind me and my feet down towards the floor without changing the shape of that leg, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to inhale as I reach, keeping the neutral. Ribs stay down, pelvis stays stable. Exhale, reach in. 2 more. Don't try to go further than you can keep the stability. The goal is to not move the spine, not move the ribs. I'm moving my arm in the shoulder joint and my leg in the hip joint, but I'm keeping my torso stable. So let's do one last time. Keep the stability of your torso, ribs and spine and hips all stable. And then hug the knees to the chest. Take a little stretch in your hips and your lower back. Now, let's put the feet back down and look at curling from our head. We're not really going to think of it as a sit-up, but we are going to think of it as an abdominal and upper back curl. Lace the fingers behind the skull. Give your head a little cradle. Let your elbows float forward up toward the ceiling so your upper back is open and wide. If I keep my elbows out flat, my shoulder blades are kind of squeezing together, and then if I want to curve my back, it's not going to work so well. I need to give my shoulder blades width by pointing my elbows up to the ceiling. And then I want to curl my chin to my chest. I want to roll my shoulders away from the mat without losing that neutral. And I'm going to inhale and roll back down. Exhale. Curling up. Inhale, curling down. Think of moving vertebrae by vertebrae, just like you did in the bridge, but now it's the upper back articulating instead of the lower back. Chin to chest, and then vertebrae by vertebrae. Maybe I get to the tip of my shoulder blades. Sinking those abdominals in, creating depth. Rather than tightening the muscles on top, sink them in to help you keep your spine and your pelvis still. One last time, we're going to curl up and we're going to stay up. You've got choices. If your neck wants that support, keep holding your head. If you feel like your abs can handle it and your neck can handle it, reach the arms forward. If your lower back feels strong and stable and your abs can do the work to hold your legs up, take them up. If you find that your back doesn't feel happy, you can always put your feet back down. Again, if your neck gets tired, you put your hands behind your head, you put your head down, we're just breathing. Sinking. I like to reach my fingers a little longer all the time to keep encouraging the curve. If I want more challenge, I can straighten my legs out away from me, but I want to keep my sacrum on the ground. I don't want to let my back arch. I don't want to make my back tuck. I want to be neutral. Breathing, 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 and then rest. So that shape, that ab curl shape, we're going to look at that again a little later. But for now, let's go back to having our feet down. And we're going to take a small exercise for our neck now. So when we're curling up for our ab work, our neck is involved. Sometimes you'll think, oh, I shouldn't feel my neck. Or even teachers might say, oh, don't feel your neck, don't use your neck. But our neck is made of muscles just like the rest of our body. So feeling your neck isn't inherently bad. We actually all need to be strengthening the front of our neck. So this is for that, it's strengthening the neck. But you don't want to overdo it. And these might be very tiny movements, so small. So feel what feels right for you and don't push it to be bigger. We're only going to do 3. As I breathe out, I pull my chin to my chest. I let my chin go to my chest, but I don't let my head lift out of the floor. And then I relax. Exhale, pulling the chin to the chest. It's going to make the front of the neck tone and engage and the back of the neck stretch. And then relax. Last one. Chin goes down. Back of the neck stretches long without lifting my head. It might be very weird. It might be very small. Basically, you want to feel the front of the neck, kind of the sides of throat engaging, and you might feel the back of your neck stretching, but we're working these. Now, if that felt like enough for your neck, don't continue on with the second part of the exercise, but if that felt okay, the second part would be to draw that chin down as far as you can without lifting your head. And then let it lift your head. And I'm curling my neck. I'm not doing an ab curl. My chest and my shoulders are heavy, and then I want to curl back down. And the more I can send my chin down to my chest and the crown of my head towards the ceiling, the better. This might be small. You might only go this far. Keep that chin tucking in so the back of the neck is growing and the front of the neck is working and toning. And then rest. So that is a huge workout for the neck. Our neck muscles are small. They're not like, our ab muscles where we could do more reps with ab stuff. We're not going to do a bunch of reps with our neck. They're going to be only a few. And if you can do those exercises consistently, your neck muscles will have a better chance of keeping your head balanced on top of your spine, which is the key to having good posture. So we've had a little break of being on our wrists. We're going to go back to it now. So go ahead, roll onto your side and sit up and go back to that cat position. And now I'm going to again find that neutral. And now that idea of keeping my spine stable, keeping my ribs and my back and my pelvis all neutral and not moving, but reaching my arms and my legs. I'm going to reach one arm and I'm going to see how does that feel. And then I'll just try the other arm. And you're going to see, how does it feel to balance on one hand? It's a little bit challenging and I've got to keep pushing the floor away from me. And I don't want to lift my arms so high out of the floor that I feel things tilting or going weird. Don't feel like it needs to go to any specific height. Just figuring out how high can it go. Now, let's try a leg. Reach the leg back, and as it stretches out of the floor, try to keep the hip bones facing down into your mat so there's no rotating in your pelvis. No twisting in your hips or your spine. You have to shift your weight because now you're only on 2 hands and 1 knee. Try each leg one more time. Feel your weight shift and stretch the leg back. Lift the belly up and keep lengthening. One more time, just one leg, reaching. Keep your hip bones facing the floor and think of the foot going behind you, not trying to kick it up high, which is going to probably make your back one arch. Now we've done one arm, we've done one leg. Now we're going to do opposite hand and foot, reaching. Opposite arm and leg. Feel a diagonal connecting one hand to the opposite foot, and then balance. Other side. Exhale, extend. I want to feel my belly toning up, and then my arms stretching out, my legs stretching out. I have to let my shoulder reach up as I reach my hand over my head. Let the shoulder reach to the fingers. Same way you let the hip reach to the toes. One more each side. You don't have to jam the shoulder down away from the ear as you reach over your head, or let there be some length from your armpit. Stretch that arm, and that makes the shoulder move up a little bit. And then find yourself, both hands and knees. Let's take a moment of a plank. If your wrists are unhappy again, you can go onto your knuckles, turning those thumbs forward. You can also go onto your forearms, which saves your wrists but makes a lot more work for your abs. Choose what you want to do. Get yourself set up. Feel nice and neutral in your spine, and then you just take one leg back. Stand on that foot, lift your belly already, and then you just pop that other foot back, and there you are in your plank. Press down either the palm, the knuckle, or the elbow and the forearm. Push the floor away from you. Reach the heels back, reach the head forward. Lengthen that spine and try to make the front of the body and the back of the body both long. Breathing and resting whenever you need to come down. Feeling exhale, lifting your belly out of the floor to make your spine float and lengthen. And then rest when you're ready. And go to a child's pose or flip over and give your lower back and your whole spine a little moment to rest. So sometimes people are like, oh, do a plank challenge. I'll just hold my plank for 30 seconds. I'll hold for a minute. That's a long time in a plank. If you want to start some kind of plank challenge, I would say, don't use a timer. Go by how you feel. Maybe count breaths instead of seconds and get your way up to where you can do like 3 calm breaths, 5 calm breaths, 10 calm breaths. Because plank is hard work. I know someone who just started this challenge and they were like, oh, I can't even do it. So if the challenge is set you up for failure, make it reasonable. Now, we're gonna roll on our spine. So there's 2 ways to do this. You can hold the front of your shin, it's a little harder. You can hold the back of your thigh, which is easier. But we've done movement now curling our tail, and we've done movement curling our head and our shoulders. Now we're gonna curl everything together. So find the way to curl your tail under, so you're kind of rocking back into that coccyx curl. And then curl your head and your shoulders forward. Make your spine a C, a perfect C. Like when you practice your penmanship in that paper as a child. Try and be curved both ends equally. And then you're gonna inhale, rock back, exhale, rock forward. Trying to maintain that curve. Inhale, exhale, deepen your belly. Rolling just to the shoulders. Keep looking at your knees and your abs. Don't let your head look backward. Keep curling that C. 2 more. Rolling isn't as easy as it looks because I'm deepening those abs to keep round. And then roll down and relax, hug your knees into your chest. Great, so that's rolling like a ball. Now we're gonna do one more rolling up. Let your feet go down, let your legs lengthen out, and let your arms reach up to the ceiling. Now, like in the beginning, I'm gonna let those arms have a moment to extend back. As I reach them back forward, my head's gonna follow. I'm gonna try to curl all the way up that I can. I've been doing this for decades, so I can curl all the way up. If you get stuck halfway, that's okay. You're gonna go as far as you go. Breathe, exhale, roll your way back down. So for some of us, this is going to look something more like this. Oh, I'm stuck here. And then you've got a few choices. You can say, this is what I can do, and then I back down. Or you can get here and you could bend your knees a little, find some help with your hands. That's totally fine. Figure out ways to make it work for you. What you don't want to do is jerk yourself and struggle to make it perfect. You're just going to try to make it fluid, rolling fluidly through your spine. This takes strength, but it also takes flexibility. So one last attempt. Inhale, reach back. Exhale, reach forward. Pull the belly in, reach the hands and the feet forward. Pull the belly backward. Inhale, gently stretching over your legs, and then exhale, keep reaching forward, but pulling your belly back to articulate as much as you can. Right. Now we're going to roll over and work the back of the body. So extended, we tend to round a lot more than we arch. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to give myself an opportunity to extend the whole front of my body open, working the back of my body. So I'm going to, my hands are just resting comfortably near my shoulders. I'm going to lift my chest and my eyes, arching my upper back. I'm going to float my legs so long they hover out of the ground, keeping them straight. Now I'm going to float my arms and extend my arms up over my head. And guess what? When I'm reaching my arm up, my shoulder is going to be extending. I don't want to try and pull my shoulder down. That's not how a shoulder works. Let your shoulders reach. Let your neck reach. Let everything lengthen. Arms and legs lengthen, and you just breathe. Now, if you can try to widen your shoulders away from your neck, that's a great direction to focus on, widening those shoulders away from the neck, but reaching your armpits out towards your fingers. Breathing and then rest. Take a moment and round your back. Give your lower back a little moment of stretch. So that was like a prep for the next exercise. If that felt like enough work, great. You can just try it again, or you can have a little rest for a moment. If you want to feel what the exercise is like, we're going to go for a swim. So you would find that same preparation shape, arms reaching, legs reaching, and then the opposite arm and leg, just like that cat exercise where we're balancing. I'm lifting opposite arm and leg. And I can go fast, or I can go slow. Choose a pace that feels like you can move and breathe and find some control, but not feeling like you're torturing yourself, trying to be perfect. Moving and breathing. Every breath out, you can deepen your belly a little bit and lengthen those limbs. Long arms and legs. Make your body as long as it can be. Don't make the movement so big that it doesn't feel good. You're gonna feel challenged. Muscles working like crazy, but don't let it hurt your joints. Keep your eyes more toward the floor. Don't look out ahead where your neck feels crunched and collapsed. Reach the top of your head. Reaching, breathing, swimming, and then resting. Oh. And one last time, give your lower back a stretch. Round it out, either child's pose or flip it onto your back. Now, child's pose, you can have your arms over your head. You don't need to reach them so aggressively that your shoulders don't feel like they can relax. Try to relax here. That might mean bringing your hands back here. They might even like to go back there, but let your shoulders flop and relax. And then go ahead and come up to sitting, just for a moment. I'm just going to look at posture and that neck strength, front of the neck. So you can sit in a chair, you can stand. If sitting like this isn't good for you, I just want you to have a nice straight spine. So you can stand up, you can sit in a chair, you can put your legs however they want to be. You could sit like this. Just be in a nice straight spine, in a chair, however you want, or standing. But I would love to have a moment where I try to find my pelvis, my rib cage, my shoulder girdle, collarbones and shoulder blades and shoulder joints, all stacked up. And then I want to see is my head stacked up. Most of us have got our head forward to some degree. It's just a product of life as a human. And the more we do phone and computer and Zoom and all, our neck is getting pulled forward. So when I can strengthen these muscles over time with those exercises, and I can use the awareness of these muscles helping keep my neck and head over my shoulders, which are over my ribs, which are over my hips. Then as I'm standing, I've got things more stacked up. And the deep, deep muscles can do their job. So if I'm standing and I'm trying to be straight and I'm trying to have good posture, that isn't really how it works. You want to get your body to stack itself up so those muscles can do their job and you don't have to think about it, because we all have enough to think about. We can't think about our neck all day. So those little tiny nods laying down are going to give you the strength you need to keep your head on top of your spine. So let's do one last challenge for front of the body strength, back of the body strength. So I'm going to turn my mat, because what I'm going to do is I am going to make sure that my pelvis is on the mat, my hips. But my head and my feet don't need to be on the mat, because what I'm going to do is a little bit of rolling front to back. So I am going to find my abdominal curl position. I could have that tabletop and curl up. So one choice is here. The most extreme choice would be like feet 6 inches over the floor. This is the classic 100 position. This would be, maximum. You don't have to make it that hard. You could have it a little higher, a little higher. You could have your knees bent. Whatever you want. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be here. Then I'm going to reach my arms and my legs. Arms overhead, legs shoot out, roll to my side. Now I'm in that flying, swimming preparation. And then I am going to roll back the way I came, reach back to where I started. Now I'm going to go the other direction. Reach, roll that way. Now I'm swimming, I'm flying, I'm reaching. Inhale, roll back the way I came, and then rest. Great. So I call that rolling like a banana, because it's not really like rolling like a ball. And if you've got here, you are kind of always trying to keep a little of that kind of banana shape. But that one is a challenge. Works the whole body. Give yourself a little stretch. Take your knees and your feet down. Give your knees a rock, a little side to side. Easy. Just knees rocking. To give a little movement to your hips. And then just find the center. Let yourself rest one moment, settling back to neutral, where we started. All right, good work. So yeah, if you've got requests, feel free to let me know, or one of the VIDA people at the desk. They can always pass it on, and I'd be happy to give you some specific exercises for, if you wanted something for hips or knees or whatever you want, let me know. And I'd love to see you for your session. So if you'd like to schedule and try the equipment, that's super fun. That's also an option. All right, take care.